Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, I wish you a good morning. It is not actually a good morning, as you can see. Oh, let's see. I think some lights are in order. It is so wet. Oh. Oh. Oh, I was going to give you a look at my house. My poor house. But there's no way the builders are coming today. 90% chance of rain all day. It is going to look nice when it's finished though. So, how are you? Are you well? Good, good. It's Monday morning. I'm off to work. Got my usual. I don't have a full week. I don't care. Let's defrost the windscreen. Or defog it anyway. No, I've got a full day today though. Funnily enough, I mean today is really actually booked up brilliantly. It's how I want it to be booked up. I've got a full day ahead today, and I've got space during the week. You know, I mean that really is an ideal way to run a dental surgery, isn't it? Like Barnum said, no, don't put up the full sign. No, don't put up the sold out sign. Because if you haven't got tickets for today, you've always got tickets for tomorrow. So, what can I tell you? What do you need to be updated on? There's a couple of sagas. I'll go over them fairly quickly. Two main sagas I've got are the bloke who didn't pay £78, cancelled at short notice and decided that he was going to. He paid his £78 in advance for his checkup, X-rays, diagnosis, examination, diagnosis, treatment plan, etc. And then was sick at short notice, and then decided to reclaim his £78 back as a MasterCard refund by claiming he never received the service. And succeeded in that claim, which then forced me to consider quite hard how I was going to handle it. So I decided to take him small claims. So we went to small claims, and the upshot of that was that I lost. I didn't lose it. We negotiated, and I said if he paid the 78, I'll write off the 35 it had cost me to issue the claim, which in the end he accepted, which was, now what that enabled was him to sort of retire with a bit of dignity, saying that okay, he'll pay, but he's not going to pay any of my expenses in chasing it up. And it enabled me to say that nobody's ever booked an appointment with me, paid, and then managed to get the money back because they cancelled themselves. So that means I don't have to go to a solicitor and ask them to work out why MasterCard refund the money when it's fairly obviously shouldn't be refunded. So all's well that ends well. But the thing about arbitration, which is what it goes to, or it's not, is it arbitration? No, it's more sort of mediation, I would say. Mediation, where they sort of try and get, each one tries to get the other one to see their point of view. What you do is you talk to the mediator, and then he sort of hangs up, and then he talks to the other side, and then he hangs up, and then he talks to you, blah blah blah, and he makes the points that the other side are sort of are making to him in a way that makes sense. And it also enables him to appear to be chummy with both sides. You know, you can think he's your friend, whereas the bloke on the other phone call thinks he's his friend. So but it all ends up with compromise. Apparently, compromise is what you You're supposed to compromise. If somebody gets a product or a service and doesn't pay you, you're supposed to compromise. I don't see why you need to bloody compromise. They've had it away with the goods or the service, but my compromise was to write off the £35 collection charge. He insisted on paying over 2 months, £39 a month, and true to his word he did, and true to his word he did withdraw the snotty Google reviews that he put on the 1-star reviews. So you could say all's well that ends well. I mean, it all depends on whether or not you sort of see him as a complete aberration. At the moment, I think we can say he is a complete aberration. That nobody has done anything similar to this, or made any claims back on credit cards for anything I've done. So, you know, perhaps it's just one of those weird things. But anyway, so that's how that resolved. So let's just summarise this, because you know that I go through this stuff, so you don't have to, right? What you can do is you charge people in advance. For a Friday appointment, it has to be settled, say, by Wednesday 5 p.m. Or for a Wednesday appointment, it has to be settled by Monday 5 p.m. Or for a Monday appointment, it has to be settled by previous Thursday 5 p.m. So it's 2 working days in effect. And then if somebody then can't come in, then after the deadline, the risk is on them. You know, the onus is on them. The loss is theirs after that point. And if they don't like that, then then fair enough, you have to part ways. You know, but providing you've made it quite clear in your invoices and your terms and conditions that that's the way you work, then you'll just have to say, well, you knew that was the way we worked, and so if you don't want to, you know, if you don't want to work that way with hindsight, then obviously you need to see another dentist. Now, what else? Just put a bit of warm air on the windscreen here. So there's this other patient who I made a full for, who'd never been able to wear a denture, and came back and said that her upper denture was loose, and so we told her she needs to persist with it, which is what she does. And then we got a complaint saying that she'd been to see a denturist and had some dentures made, and the dentures were wonderful, and she wanted her money back, right? So anyway, it's an interesting case in a way, this, because supposing someone comes in and says, look, I celebrate my 50th birthday, I want you to paint a portrait of me if you're a portrait artist. And then so you don't just do a good job, you go above and beyond to do the best job, you know, one of the best jobs you've ever done. And then a few months later the sitter comes back and says, look, I don't like this painting, I find it offensive hanging on the wall, and I've been to see another portrait painter who's painted another portrait of me which I like much better, and therefore I want my money back. So in other words, they're just going round portrait artists, getting portraits painted and insisting on their money back if, after having put in all the work and with a non-refund clause in terms, they still want their money back because they simply don't like it. So, and this is the way I'm looking, this is the lens that I'm looking at this denture through. Very much the sort of the lens that this woman is never worn dentures, happily admits that, and is a serial denture commissioner and a serial refund asker. Oh, come on, for God's sake. How's England supposed to be increased productivity if we're all being held up? Yeah, so right. So anyway, it's gone off to the Private Patient Complaints Committee. and she's she's very much like, anyway, well, cut a long story short, what we've done is we asked her to produce the notes, because the person, the denturist who's made the new dentures, and more of that later, is conflicted, isn't he? Because of course he's going to say he wants the money, doesn't he, for his set of dentures. And when the patient went to see him, the conversation probably went along the lines of, I've paid a lot of money for this private set of dentures, and I persevered with them a bit, and I just don't like them, and so can you fix them? Neela said, well, I can't fix them, but I can make you another set, because I'm a specialist in dentures, and Sheila said, well, I've done a lot of money on this set, how am I going to pay for another set? And he'll say, oh my God, let's see how we go. And he'll say, don't worry, you can get your money back from your previous dentist. You just get in touch with the private patient's complaints procedure, say the dentures are rubbish, and happy days. What's closed about this road exactly? So anyway, so I was concerned that there were there's no evidence as to what's wrong with my dentures. It's not like she's been to see a prosthodontic specialist or anything, or even another general practitioner, or more of that later, to say that, what's wrong with my dentures. And I'm not going to refund a set of dentures that nobody's really said to me what's wrong with them. The only hint as to what she's been told is wrong with them is from the denturist, who's written something along the lines of, they were made with a chrome pallet, and a chrome pallet is a heavy thing, and has made the dentures drop down because of the weight of the dentures is excessive. And a chrome pallet was not indicated in this case, because it's only indicated if a patient is constantly breaking her denture. Yeah, that's a good idea. Pull out in front of me like 8 feet away when I'm doing 70 miles an hour on a soaking wet road. Which is the biggest load of BS I've ever heard in my entire life. I mean, for a start, we didn't do a chrome plate because she'd been breaking her dentures. She has never even worn a denture, let alone broken one. And we did a chrome plate because she was having trouble tolerating it in her mouth. And a chrome plate is much thinner, much less obtrusive than an acrylic plate, and it certainly doesn't weigh more than, it's not like it's not made out of lead. You know what I mean? It's not. If anything, it's probably lighter, I would imagine, than the equivalent amount of acrylic. So that's right. So this is the sort of the BS you have to put up with. Oh, excuse me. Come on there. Yeah, that's right. So, where are we now? So what we did was we said, look, there must be some clinical notes associated with this. And what's happened is they've sent back a few things. One was the original note from the denturist saying that the problem was it had been made with a lead pallet. The second one was his referral form. Now, this guy, and I know of him, I've never met him, apparently he's a nice bloke and everything, but apparently he needs a referral from a dentist to do a denture. And what happens is he gets a lot of, and they seek contact with the public directly, so he's got patients coming to see him. Sorry about the rain, we'll be through this in a minute. He's got patients coming to see him, and what he's got is he's got a trained dentist who signs forms, and obviously, you know, is responsible to the GDC for prescribing these dentures. So on the prescription form it says, please make the following, and in it it's already pre-printed full upper denture. Notice full upper denture, not full dentures. And then underneath it's got notes, the notes, and the notes say something like, I have seen this patient and discussed with her ways of replacing her missing teeth. So, in other words, it's a total subversion, let's put it that way, of the intention of the process. It's just a pro forma, it's a rubber stamp form. Now, obviously I'm intrigued because she's claiming a full refund, and yet she's only had a full upper made. And so that leads me to suspect that she's quite happy with the lower denture, which I do think is true, because she complained about the lower denture. I made a small adjustment, and then she then said no, she's very happy with it. So then the biggest mistake she made was that in sending her previous notes, she actually managed to send her notes from the previous dental practice that she went to. And blow me down, they've also made her a full denture, and strike me blind, she's got a refund off of them. So we've in short order, what we've done is we've proven that she's defrauding me for the denture, because she's claimed for the refund of both and she's using the lower. There's no really what I would call legitimate, valid, substantive criticism of my denture at all, other than the fact that she decided that she was temperamentally unsuited to wearing it. And we can prove that she's in the habit of seeking having dentures made and getting refunds, which is funnily enough was the reason why. Sorry about that clicking. This is a very old car now. It's done 113,000 miles, which is about the same as me. So in the early days of the NHS in 1948, everything was free, and the one thing that everybody needed on the dental side was dentures, because very, very many people had no teeth at all. And now all of a sudden they could have a set of dentures made on the NHS free of charge. And so what happened was, everybody and their grandmother literally went and had a set of dentures made on the NHS. And if they didn't like them, they went to another dentist and had another set of dentures made on the NHS. And if they didn't like them, they went and had another set of dentures made on the NHS. And very soon the NHS authorities realised that the number of dentures being made on the NHS far exceeded the number of people with no teeth. So what they did was they brought in the original NHS charges. The very, very first charge on the NHS for anything was for dentures. And that's because people will go from dentist to dentist getting dentures made. And every one of them is not satisfactory. Because the problem is with the patient, not with the denture. So, where are we with this? Well, we're going to draft a letter back saying that we're gonna dispute this, and I don't know. I'll probably go to whatever they call it now, service committee or whatever they call it, and we'll see how it goes. It'll probably end up for the General Dental Council, because if the service committee says I need to refund the money, then I'll have to think long and hard about whether or not I want to refund the money, because the alternative is to go up for the GDC, not on a charge of making bad dentures or of but of not taking the advice of the what's it, of the private patient complaints people. And you can't defend that, because I'm literally not taking the advice of the defence people, am I? Oh, it's so stupid, this bloody system where they have about 100 yards after a roundabout of sort of dual carriageway, which then merges into one, because everybody uses this lane to try and overtake, like that idiot in front, and it just annoys everybody. What they should do is they should have a big sign saying merge in turn, like they do in America, and then everyone would fill up both lanes and they would merge in turn at the front. Here we go. Look at this. Everybody's going to stop, although the ambulance is coming the other way. That's another good one. So anyway, it's a slow process. I mean, really, even I think it's a slow process. She probably thinks it's a slow process. The quality of the administrative support of the GDC is very poor. They do things like they send you emails saying, we want a reply by 10th of November. And they'll send that email on the 20th of November. And what's happened is that they've sort of copy-pasted their previous email and changed the text and left the deadline in, and haven't realised that the deadline needs changing as well, and so you get these ridiculous emails that don't make any sense, Even my indemnity organisation, really, I don't think fully understands the issues involved. I mean, she's a bit obsessed with my terms and conditions, this woman. I'm dealing with in the indemnity thing. She said that when I state quite clearly in my quote that dentures are difficult to get used to and some people can never wear dentures, and that the patient understands this and accepts the risk that they may not be able to wear the dentures, she's trying to distort the argument, my argument, into along the lines that the patient can't commission a set of dentures that they can't wear. So my terms and conditions about accepting that she might not be able to wear them, that the patient might not be able to or could not possibly fill fulfil that part of my terms and conditions, and therefore that part is void. Which, you know, is a bit like it's a bit like when you sell a house and the estate agent starts ringing you with ridiculous offers, because basically they just want the commission. They don't care about you getting what is the market price for the house. And you ask yourself whether the estate agent is working for you or for the buyer. And you know, sometimes with these indemnity societies, they've got their own agenda. So you have to ask yourself whether or not they're working for whether they're working for you or they're working for themselves. Basically, I don't think they're working for but working for themselves tends to be the same thing as them working for the complainant, which is obviously not good. Anyway, if there's any more developments in that, I'll let you know. All right? Okay. Keep your chin up. It's not as bad as you think. Cheers. Bye.